Hi, and thanks for tuning in to Radio Memories. Here it is, August 4th, 2021, already into August. I'm Sky Walker. I appreciate you watching. Today we have a very special guest, the former and last program director of KTNQ in Los Angeles, the new TenQ. And then he became the first program director of the new KHTZ 97, also owned by Storer Broadcasting. He would become the second program director of KHTZ, not KHTZ 97, and that was owned by Greater Media. And there lies the confusion. And there's been talk and there's confusing stories, and Jim Conlee will be on with us, and hopefully he'll clear some of that up and talk about some other great radio memories. And joining us from his home in Richmond, Virginia, Jim Conlee. Jim, it is so good to see you.
Sky, wait, you are on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast, and you know how long it's been since I've seen you?
It has been so many years.
We worked together in the late 70s into like the mid 80s. Mm-hmm. And then I popped out of LA and went back to Houston. That's maybe a story 10 minutes from now.
Not only that, but you were the best man to my second marriage.
That's right.
You forgot about
the memories come. Yes. Oh, I could go on from there, but yes,
that's another that's for another time.
Did you attend my wedding? I can't remember. We're talking weddings here, personal relationships with the women in our lives.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but anyway, it is great to see you again. And, we have, you've shared your journey there in the Los Angeles area. I've been watching your success. We even shared a moment in the same, well, not at the same time, but in the same city, Tucson, Arizona, because you were there. And I was there a little before you were there, but we've experienced that beautiful valley right there and the 105-degree temperature, and that's mild. And
but one of the first things that I remember is when you arrived at KTNQ KGBS, because you came to the radio station. I was just babysitting the automation of KGBS.
In the back room. Yes.
In the back room. When we were there back there with the automation that was named Mongo. and you came in as you were the national production director. Yeah, and you and I just became friends. You know, we were just buds and hung out. Suddenly you became the program director of TenQ.
Right there in the last 45 seconds, you've reviewed a significant part of my career. Absolutely. And it's interesting. I can kind of do a little backstory on this whole journey of mine to become the national program director for Storer. Prior to joining TM Productions in Dallas, where I produced the production source for a year, I spent the year doing that full project from beginning to end and producing vinyl discs of production music that we syndicated to radio stations. I ran into Ed Solomon, who went to high school with me at Fox Chapel High School in Pittsburgh, along with Ken Justice, who was the operations manager at TM Productions in Pittsburgh. So we knew each other. And so out of nowhere, I walk into one of the studios at TM, and there is Ed Solomon. I go, my God, what's going on? Of course, he had become the program director of KDKA and the music director and so forth. He was in town to have promos produced for WHN. Through the expertise of Ken Justice with a Moog synthesizer and everything, and I'm watching all this happen. And somewhere along the line, I got the idea to approach them. I said, you know what, guys? And I don't tell anybody. I actually stole business from TM when I said, listen, I really could come out there and do what you're doing right now out there in the studios in LA if you'd like. And they thought about it, said, sure. And they made me an offer. And so I get in my car literally while I'm driving on the way from Dallas to Los Angeles. Storer sells the radio division. So I get out there and I find out, well, your job is short-lived. You really won't be required. But hey, let's do this Christmas promotion. And so I contacted the VO guy that we had used in Dallas, flew him out to LA, put him up, and I had him in the studio. I wrote the scripts and produced the whole promotion for them out of that studio. And that was the last thing I did. So that, yes. And yes, I then became program director of TenQ. Fast forwarding, I was actually out of work. Mike McVeigh, no less, was the then program director at TenQ. He got hired by Wacky in Louisville, and so they needed a program director. I applied to the general manager. He liked my application. I became the PD. So here I am. I had nothing in my resume, nothing in my brain said, Jim, you want to be a program director, don't you? I said, oh, I hope, I wish, I pray. None of that. All of a sudden, I am. And not only am I a program director, but I'm a program director at 10 freaking Q in freaking Los Angeles, the number 2 radio market. You know what I'm saying? I said, unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like, do you know what you're doing? Well, yeah, I know radio, and I know how a radio station should sound good, and I know all the bells and whistles and the production and the promotions. The nice thing about this is we didn't have to do any promotions because the station really was about to be closed on and sold, so we didn't want to book anything in the future. We're dealing only in the present. And so,
but it was so fun.
Yes.
Because it was kind of, nobody really cared. And because there was that lack of, okay, we really don't give a rat's ass. Let's just have fun.
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, so there's no planning, no promotion meetings. We didn't have to work with the sales department to do anything. Let's just play the right music and see how we can perform in the ratings. And sure enough, we built a cum of over $1.5 million with under my tutelage. I was blessed, and the ratings went through the roof for this AM, and we all had a great time. We're all laughing and scratching, and it couldn't be any better radio. It's just when radio is great.
It was so fun. It was fun.
Yep. And I have to say that again, here I am. No planning to become a program director, and here I am in Los Angeles. So it, in the end, all worked out very well. And so, so we fast forward. We know that there will be an end to TenQ. And now we know the Greater Media is buying the FM, the KGBS, which will not be a country station. We know it will be an adult contemporary station of some, or pop music station of some kind. So I get on the phone right away to Julian Breen as the PD at TenQ. I said, look, I'd sure like to be involved with you guys. It's up to you, whatever you think it'd be, if it would work for you. I just wanted to put my name in the hat. And it worked out for me that, sure, let's get you involved. And so they kept me to help with the transition. And that's a whole nother story about how there was that day where we went from an AM station to an FM station. And so TenQ literally was put on the air in the same intensity, same music library, top 40 FM. And it sounded great. It really did.
And we were literally still TenQ. And with the same jocks.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
With the same jocks in the same studio.
Yes, and it's just even the wires were hooked up to the FM transmitter. So yes.
Even with a TenQ logo still on the console. And even though we were K-Hits 97 now, even the jocks would forget. I think Charlie and Jack Armstrong were the only two that were consistent and would say K-Hits 97.
Yeah, well, look who we're talking about there, right?
Yeah, two pros.
The ratings monsters. Right. They're so
but
good.
Everybody else would forget and say TenQ.
But it was all, we'd all laugh,
And we'd laugh because it was still TenQ.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally the sweepers at 15 and 45, which were recorded by Charlie Tuna, were the exact same that we had at TenQ. TenQs were TenQ with more to listen for. And immediately it became K-Hits 97 with more to listen for.
Yes. Right. And it, even as long ago as that was, and Sky, I'm telling you, these are moments that I'll never forget because they are the pinnacle of my career. the most unique possible. You know how it is when we, both of us in this business, we have the opportunity to do things, to meet people, to rub shoulders with people, that kind of thing, only because we do what we do. So all of that falls into this basket that we're talking about in my experience, but more, because there was significantly more that I experienced that I have been telling people about. Jim, you're in radio? Yeah. Oh, I bet it was fun. You know, when I start talking about the stories in Los Angeles and how every night I'm out on the town with a record promotion person, or I'm up with Burt Bacharach in his house with Carol Bayer Sager enjoying cocktails and hearing Burt Bacharach sing Alfie right there at the piano from his mouth to my ear. Fantastic stuff, you know, and Elton John, you know, these kinds of experiences that we have available to us.
And Neil Diamond, don't you remember?
Yes, and Neil Diamond. And I'm telling you, in no other city does that happen. Wherever else I worked, there were moments, you know, in Houston, that kind of thing. But in LA, it was one after another, after another, after another. And you almost become numb to it. So the distance puts an appreciation to it. And so I sit here today at my age thinking back on the beautiful part of my career that was LA. Just fantastic. But these moments of transition from KHTZ, from a TenQ to a KHTZ, the development of the logo. We had a television commercial. I worked with Tim Sullivan on that, and all of this stuff.
Can we kind of take it in step, because
yes,
we were having a wonderful time still as Store and K-Hits 97, and essentially it was TenQ. It was TenQ. It was still TenQ, and it was still your TenQ. It was K-Hits 97, but it was on FM, and it was still TenQ. Right. Mm-hmm. But then one day we all get this memo from Store, and everybody gets blown out.
Yeah, that was Armstrong. It was a union station too. I just want to mention.
And it was a union station.
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So everyone gets blown out.
Yep. And I had nothing to do with that. I didn't know it was going to happen. I mean, no. Let me back up. I didn't know when or in what form that it would happen, but I knew that I knew what I'd be set with on the back end. Okay. So, but I did hear these stories, the little 15-minute meetings with, I believe, Julian.
Yeah.
I think Julian Breen.
No, we didn't have any meetings with Greater Media. Our meetings were with Store.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's okay. All right. See,
Store, because Greater Media didn't blow us out.
Okay.
Store is the one who ended the deal.
The current employer. Yes.
The current employer said,
"Yep,
you know, that's it. You know, there's a new owner in town." So essentially, that's what happened. And if every 15 minutes we were called in and then dismissed. And the only reason I stayed is you came out and said, "Do you want to do overnights tonight?" Because I guess Bobby didn't have somebody to do overnights that night.
Bobby Rich,
Rich, who was the new program director. Uh-huh. And as I walked back in, and everybody left. We all gathered. I remember everybody in the parking lot of the mortuary, TenQ, 338 Southern Western Avenue, and I remember Jack Armstrong saying, "Oh fuck, yeah, I got to call John Rook," and everybody was just kind of just sad. Because it was just like an end of an era, of a fun time, because they still thought of it as TenQ, I think. And everybody drove away. And when I walked back in the building, all these people were moving the TenQ studio equipment out. Yeah. And I asked you, I said, so where are we broadcasting from? And you pointed into
one of the production rooms, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On the other side of the glass.
Right.
The production B. I don't know. Yeah.
Studio B.
And
Yep. And it wasn't equipped. It wasn't equipped to be a studio.
Nope. In no way. It was a wonderful. No, it was actually production too. It wasn't the main production room.
No,
that was the other studio.
That was the others. It was. No, we didn't even get.
It was the Plan B studio.
Yeah. The Liebermans, who had purchased the AM station, had purchased all the equipment, and they came in and immediately
moved it over to their building. Yeah.
Took all of the great equipment, and we were left with just all the probably the oldest KGBS equipment that they had left.
The rotary dials.
That's what we had. And that's what we were left with for a whole year.
Yeah.
And during that period of time, Jim, this is what I don't understand. So Bobby Rich comes in. And so, and this was the confusion. And we go through disc jockey after disc jockey after disc jockey. And I think it was because it didn't pay well. K-Hits wasn't paying well. We had Pat Evans come in. He had left KHJ. Pat Evans came in to do 7 to midnight and left right away.
Greater Media, K-Hits / Greater Media.
This is Greater Media's.
Okay,
now K-Hits.
You are correct when you say didn't pay well. You are correct.
Yes, once we became Greater Media's K-Hits, that day when we started broadcasting from Studio B / whatever studio, where we had to throw everything together, and we were just literally hitting carts, mismatched carts, and we had no remote starts.
Reaching,
yes,
right, and then the physicality of going to get the car. Here's the stack of commercials. Here's this hour's music, and it's all like this crazy. Yeah.
You're right. Even we had no remote start for the reel-to-reel, so you had to reach back and hit the start.
Yep.
On the
college radio, college radio, not even college radio. There are college radio stations that are better equipped than this.
So so Pat Evans left KHJ thinking, okay, this is going to be great, and he said, and he was the one who taught me how to talk up records, and it became a competition with us at KHTZ 97. It was like, and one of the ones was Take the Money and Run by Steve Miller Band. And it was like, who, and then you had to continue talking up after that part until you hit the vocal.
Post number 2, right?
but all of a sudden the station began to soften, and Pat exited and went back to KHJ.
Yes.
And we went through a bunch of people during that period of time, and the station continued to soften. Bobby became more scarce. You couldn't find him at the station anymore, because I don't think that at least my observation at the time, and you would know better, and this is why you're on the show to tell the story what was happening. But my observation was that they hired Bobby to do a top 40 station, and then all of these consultants came in, and the head honchos at Greater Media wanted something completely different. They wanted an adult contemporary station, a very soft adult contemporary station.
That's true. Yeah, you just spoke the truth. That's exactly right. They wanted to position the station If you think of K-Earth at the time and KNX-FM was a soft acoustic rock station, kind of successful. They wanted to position KHTZ right between the two of them, right down the middle. So what does that mean? Soft oldies, pretty much. But one of the things that we wanted to do at the time, and I can say because I eventually then became PD and was involved deeply in this whole process, is to develop music research. And at the time, I don't believe, I may be wrong, but I don't believe anybody was employing music research. When I first learned of music research as a way to determine what songs to play on the radio instead of looking at the Billboard charts or whatever published information you have, because it may be that the songs that are top 5 on the Billboard chart are not songs they really want to hear or they really like. So you try to find out what people like. We had identified our narrow demo at 2534, and then it would spill over either side. So short story is that we started researching our music. And it was, to me, a magical kind of way to make all the other PDs in town wonder. I may be overthinking this when I say this, but at the time I was really believing that they're going to wonder, how the heck do they know what music to play? Because music research at the time was so new. There weren't companies like we have now that you just sign the contract and they take it either into a music. They don't even do music auditorium tests anymore, but you know what I'm saying? But you just sign the contract and they deliver to you in 3 weeks. Here's your list, right? And if you'd like, we'd even have it in the format. We'll just merge it right into your database, that kind of thing. Didn't happen because we had 3x5 cards. There wasn't even Selector at the time.
Right.
So this is what we did. And I'm telling you this now because between the time that we were top 40 and then you heard the station softening, and I love Bobby Rich. There's nothing about Bobby Rich to me that I don't like, honestly. But the process is that the transition from point A to point B can be difficult to understand and to do the way Greater Media wanted it to be done. So that's the story. That's what happened.
Okay, then this brings up the question, as K-Hits or KHTZ, and they don't even adopt really the name K-Hits, which is a natural. They become K-Hits 97 FM, and very successfully. And they become the number 1 adult contemporary station in LA.
In 18 months.
In 18 months.
Yeah.
I mean, they are far ahead of the game.
Yeah. I know where you're going. Yeah.
So how is it that Coast 103 is able to come out of, because Coast wasn't doing well. They were kind of stumbling, but how did they suddenly find all these kinks in the armor of KHTZ to actually take them down?
Yeah. A couple of things were going on, but to Johnny K's credit, and I, tip of the hat to him really in terms of his brilliance in programming. And as a fellow programmer at the time, I recognized it. I realized that we were in trouble. And if we were to compete with what he was doing, we'd have to change the sound of our radio station. And that's what he forced us to decide to do or not to do. In that, he had tempo. He had researched songs for the same demo, except their tempo. Because if you look at the Guy Zapolian pendulum, we were back to an active, here come Hall & Oates, and here come the Eurythmics. In the 80s right there, you started Sweet Dreams Are Made, and I'm over here playing Air Supply. There's a complete difference in the sound of the radio station. They typically inherently appeal to the same listener, but they aren't compatible. I can't honestly say that I tried. I can't honestly say that I could put Hall & Oates, Maneater, on the same station that I had without ruining the station that I had. You see what I'm saying? So he just took it a different direction. And it was, and I'm sure that he had some focus groups going on. And I'm such a research-oriented kind of guy. The focus groups, knowing this is the hole in the market, that K-Hits is not. We were the first to come in with a researched library-based format where we had 630 songs and played them over and over and over, each and every one of them. And I can tell you to the T that they were all appealing and they were all high scoring, and we played them in the right frequencies and all that. And he, on the other hand, had tempo to beat us. So that was happening. Go ahead.
Would you consider, and this is just something that has crossed my mind, that I always thought that Coast had their air personalities, even though they were reading liner cards, that they sounded more Southern California than KHTZ's jocks ended up sounding. And I know this wasn't your doing. I know that Greater Media was actually bringing in those jocks from the East Coast. And suddenly, K-Hits didn't have any familiar names, known names in Southern California names.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that Coast did, but Coast did have people that were familiar with California or worked in California, either Northern California or Southern California. But they seem to be a little more, and this is just my perception. I'm not saying this is the case.
Yeah.
But could this have been a factor?
You know, when you're competing one station versus the other, it's the whole package. And part of the package are the disc jockeys. No question about it. If there's a mismatch in who you're trying to appeal to in terms of an audience, be it 60% female, whatever, the whole package has, and the presentation of the music, the production that surrounds it, the imaging, the positioning phrases, how those are read, slashed, announced, or sold, how the station is sold, all works together. So what you're alluding to, and it's a perceptual kind of thing, but from a listener's viewpoint, you take it back and it's just the whole package. I listen to the station. Why do you listen to the station? I love the music. I listen to the station. Why? Oh, that guy in middays, I think he's a nice guy. Whatever it may be, there's some reason they listen to the station. So as a programmer, you try to put every single cylinder just a cranking away in your 6-cylinder engine. So everything is just as it should be. So if you have a weak link, then you try to either improve the performance, jock meetings, or replace the cylinder. He did a great job staffing that radio station. There's no doubt. Good sounding voices. His positioning phrases were perfect. Everything was cooking. That's why I said, this guy's got it. He's a smart programmer. And as his legacy will tell us, sure enough, look at his career. And I know of his importance with Cox. I was involved somewhat in their Tampa Bay oldie station. And do
you think it was? I think it was a great strategic move when he locked in Dick Clark in
Tampa Bay. Yes, that's exactly where I was going. As the imaging guy, he got Dick Clark to do the liners in Tampa, and I honestly question that, but he was the guy who put it together for him. So he was very well thought of in the company, and one of the big top 5 programming names in the business for a long time, if not still. So I believe me, when 2 things. Coast was on the air. Johnny is doing a great job with that radio station. It's sounding great. I know he knows what he's doing. I know he's playing the right music. I know he's got the best talent. And then on the other side, as we look at now, here I am in the middle, Rick Dees on Kiss FM, and they're giving away cards.
They're starting to take off.
And they're really, really starting to cook. Rick is sounding great. They got a strong morning show.
Yeah.
Forcing me to look at everything I've got, including the late, great Charlie Tuna in the morning on our station. one of the best, one of the easiest to work with. This guy was just terrific. But we had to look at our whole picture. Joe Cipriano afternoons, and here's one of the preeminent voiceover guys now, imaging guys,
So, and then it just suddenly crumbled. Is that what happened?
Yes. Yeah. It just,
and then how soon thereafter did it become KBZT? Did they just figure, okay, this is it?
They let me go. They let me go. And I'm sitting on my couch, and the afternoon guy became the PD. I forget his name. But anyway, yeah, they just changed it. And I don't know what they did with it then. I don't know. It eventually became
I was already at the mighty 690, remember? And I would go visit you at your house right there on Burbank Boulevard.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In the valley.
So it's just when I left, it was all right, I'm gone. And it didn't surprise me, when that moment came. It's just I was honestly in all the internal communication about the market conditions at that point. Everybody's scratching their head. We did focus groups about Johnny K Station. We tried to figure out some tactical maneuvering that we could possibly do, but the fact was that we were seeing this rapid decline, and to turn that around in a city the size of it. First of all, the turnaround for us to succeed was very quick. And by the way, I want to tell you something that Julian Breen did. This was brilliant. And one of the reasons our rise took only 18 months, when it comes time to building a sample for your music testing, and if you're going to invite people to listen to hooks, who is it you're going to invite? That's the key. That they're the right person, that they're the right age, that they have the right mix of radio stations they listen to, so you know that they'd be inclined to listen to your station. The list that we had to find these people was the same list that Arbitron used to populate the diaries. So we were 99% of the time having diary holders listen to our music tests and participate. And they spent a ton of money to get this, but they knew, because Arbitron buys the list from a company, and that's the same company that we use to buy our list from. Brilliant. That's the reason. And it became, this is, I think, really one of the real reasons. There came a time when said, well, Jim, we can't afford to do that anymore. Is it just, can we use the phone book? Just use the phone book. Look at that. How different is that? Well, okay, if we have to. And then I think really the validity of our music declined. So I think that was another contributing factor. But the brilliance, who is it you're going to ask with your aim to get ratings? Well, let's talk to the people that are holding the ratings, that are holding the diaries. So, I mean, I don't know if you knew that, but that is something.
Well, I was there. I remember being in the auditorium. I was a part of all of that. Jeez, God.
Heck yeah.
I remember all of that.
Yeah, but those people were diary holders.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, these are great stories, Jim. And you know what? We got to wrap things up here, but I appreciate you being. You being on.
Are you kidding me?
On the show, and I hope you come back, because I know you have more stories and more to tell.
I'd love to,
because there's so much more, not only about TenQ, but about KHTZ 97 and about KHTZ, but way more about your career, not only before but about after. So I invite you to come back, please. I hope you do.
Absolutely. Just to give me the word, give me the call, give me the code, and we'll look at each other again. Absolutely, no question.
Jim Conlee, I appreciate you being on Radio Memories. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself, okay?
You too, Sky Buddy. Thank you very much.
All right. Talk to you soon.
You bet.
Great to see my old bud, Jim Conlee. Haven't seen him in years, and great radio stories. Looking forward to having him back on the show. Can't wait to have him back. He's got some great stories that I hope he shares with us. Looking forward to it. And Jim, thank you for doing that. Coming up next week, on next Wednesday, boy, we have another great guest. So I hope you tune in. I'm Sky Walker. I hope you have a great weekend coming up, and looking forward to seeing you next Wednesday as we share more great radio memories.